Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Brew to Screw It, a Commander deck building podcast. I am your host, Cody, alongside my good friend Lazz.
Hello.
Lazz, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, Good couple weeks, It's been, we just did the podcast on the March of the Machine stuff.
That's right.
But before then, we hadn't done a podcast in a while because we only do them monthly.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
It was nice, though. We had that little short surprise one in there, but we were trying to keep it short and sweet, so we were trying to cut out some of the banter and whatnot. So back to true form tonight.
Yeah. A lot of stuff has happened since we last met. So I went to Command Fest Orlando, which is my first ever Magic event.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool. I liked it a lot.
That was awesome.
Les, you don't go to Magic events, to my knowledge, really.
Not really. I don't know. I'm not that much of a people person, I guess. Who knew? But Magic's hard because there's so many rules, so many interactions, stuff like that, and the last thing I need are like people I don't know yelling at me that I'm doing something wrong or I misplayed. When my friends yell at me that I shouldn't have played something or I have an interaction incorrect, it's like, okay, that's one thing. But man, I could see myself sitting down playing one game, 10 minutes in trying to do something, and everyone's like, that doesn't work like that. Why would you think it works like that? We're like, all right, I'm just going to pack up my stuff and I'll go home now. I can't handle this.
I don't think I had any interactions like that. I was sitting next to a pod where a content creator who I will not name got into one of those interactions with another person, and it was very awkward because we were just sitting there playing, and they had all the judges came and took all four people and just brought them to different corners of the convention.
Really?
And had to explain the ruling, and a judge just kind of stood there watching their cards, and then they all came back and they were friendly. It was really weird.
You didn't mention that to me. Now you're going to have to tell me who it was after the recording.
So it was really cool. So it was in Orlando, Florida. It was a 10-hour drive. I think if I went back, which I'm really bummed I'm not going to be able to go to the next one because of work stuff, but I think I would fly because, an hour-long flight is a lot better than a 10-hour drive.
Yeah, who would have guessed?
That 10-hour becomes 12 hours, and, I guess traffic is terrible going through Alabama. But it was really cool. The hotel we were in was really awesome. It was a resort, and so it was just really nice.
Okay.
They had fresh baked food every day. They had a steakhouse in the hotel that apparently was really good, but they were closed the whole time we were there, which sucked.
So the event was at the hotel that you were staying at too?
Yeah, it was in the convention center that was attached to the hotel.
So what hours? Because I've never been to any event like that,
yeah. Friday and Saturday it started at 9 a.m. And then I think it went. This is the confusing part because it opened at 9 a.m. and went to 10 p.m. But then on Saturday night, which is my last day, they cut all the events off at 7 p.m. So there was a 3-hour window where it was just kind of fend for yourself on finding groups and doing events and things like that. So it's kind of weird. I get okay, you don't want judges who have been on their feet all day from 9 a.m. to then, But it's just it was weird because I was I got these little tickets that gave me free plays to join a commander pod or do a draft or whatever, and I had one left, and I was hey, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow. Can I get tickets for these? Because they gave you tickets because there was a prize wall that you could spend tickets on. It was a really cool event. I liked it a lot. I definitely think I'll go to more. It kind of seems like they're going to start doing them for every pre-release. At least that's what I'm getting. Because
really,
they did this one for March of the Machines. They're doing Lord of the Rings. And so, just based on that, I'm okay, we're going to start getting one for every pre-release now. So I'll definitely keep going to more. If there was one in Texas, I would love that. Because
is that closer?
That'd be a lot closer. Yeah, a lot closer.
See, my fear of that is going and then just getting my ass absolutely kicked every deck. Because my decks aren't that strong even in our pods. So to then be out there playing with randos and strangers, and my my 6 compared to their 6 is going to be like, oh, I didn't get to play a card. That was not fun. Did you have any super crunchy players or anything that you went up against?
I had 2 negative experiences. On Friday, the first day, it was the second group of the day. I got to play like 4 games each day because these are going for like hours. And in the second group, one of the guys sat down and was like, "Hey, I'm new to the game. I only have a precon. Well, I have the Necron Artifacts deck, which is like a little upgraded, but like I don't think it's like overly powerful. No. I think it's still on the same level as a precon. The dude across from me had the Lathril Elves one upgraded a tiny bit. And then this guy's like, oh, I don't have a precon, but I got a low power deck. And I should have known something was off when this man handed all of us printouts of like what his deck did and how it had a QR code we could scan if we wanted to read about it more. Should have known something
Oh my
was
goodness.
Off. This man proceeded to kill me on turn 6 for like 79 damage. He was playing some Enchantress deck that was insane. And like I was like, okay, man, like come on. And he got up and left. The new person got up and left, and the dude across from me just looked at me and said, "That guy does not understand power levels at all." And I was like, okay, I'm not the only one who thought that.
I just love the confidence to give out a little printout about your deck. I want to do that and be like, just so you know, here's what the deck can do and all this stuff, and then just proceed to not get a creature, just get flooded with lands.
Yeah.
Like, oh, did you scan the QR code to see that there are creatures in here? Or?
Yeah. I would do that just to mess with people. Here's a QR code, and it brings them to a different deck that I have never played. They're like, what is this? And on Saturday, I had a pod where a guy was playing a CDH deck against a Volo, an upgraded precon, and I was playing my Gruul Dragons deck. And it was like turn 2, and I was like, I should scoop. Like, I should just get up and leave. Because he had like counterspelled a Soul Ring. He was like doing what is her name? Yuriko, the Tiger Shadow.
Oh, okay. So doing all
he
the
had already attacked with it. Yeah, he was doing the ninjutsu thing. He already attacked with it and pinged us all for like 10 with the card on top of his deck. And he was tutoring for stuff. And he did the combo where like he tutored for Thassa Oracle Demonic Consultation, which like makes you win the game if no one can counter it. And props to the Volo dude. He tried to counter it, but the guy had another counterspell in hand. And yeah, and like it was, I think that guy just showed up there that day and was like, I'm just gonna fuck everyone's day up.
Yeah, let me pub stomp some people.
Yeah, let me pub stomp some people. Because it was he had a carry case that was just made for one deck. Mm-hmm. That was the only deck he brought. And it's like, okay, man, like at least like I brought all my decks because I was like, hey, I don't know what power level we're gonna be playing at. I got to play all of them. And so, like, I was pretty happy. I only won 1 game, but, like, I felt like all my decks got to do stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was pretty happy about that.
And sometimes that's fine. Like, I don't mind losing games. I do it a lot. But as long as my deck did something, then, it's not a failure. It's if you just get your ass kicked and you have nothing to show for it, that's when it's like, man, I'm going to burn all my cards when I get home.
Yeah. I think I read on Twitter the other day, someone said, I care less about winning. I care more about my deck getting to do the thing I built it for. And I was like, that's pretty spot on. Like, I just want my deck to do some cool stuff. And I can count that as a win somewhat.
That's what me and Creeps always say to each other. Nice. Like, I just wanted to, I built an Angels tribal deck. So I would like to get a ton of Angels out at some point. Or, like the Griswold deck. I want to make them enormous by just killing tons and tons of tokens. That's all I care about. I know once it happens. And we'll talk a bit probably in some of our recent games from this week because I feel like I had 2 games in a row where I was the clear and immediate threat from the jump, and I think I was first to die in both those games. But it's fine just because whatever, I'm okay dying if I'm the first if I'm the biggest threat and I have some 40-40 trample, indestructible, something, yeah, you got to kill me. But I'm fine with that because I knew I was the threat and I was the focus for a little bit, and my deck didn't look, like absolute garbage, which happens a lot.
No, it doesn't. Come on, you play good decks. I also got to play my first pre-release event, and that was really cool. I went 2-0, and then I'd been playing for 5 hours, and so the last guy and I just agreed to like take a draw because if you go 2-1, you would get like 160 tickets for the prize wall. If you went 3-0, you'd get 300 tickets for the prize wall. But if you did 2-0-1, where the one is a draw, you got 280. So it was like, hey man, I just want to go eat food. You want to go do stuff with your dad. Let's just draw this out. And he was like, I'm in. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I got what is that? That Mardu Legends Matter with Dahada deck for free from the prize wall. I got a bunch of Dragon Shield sleeves from the prize wall. A collector booster pack.
You got that cool playmat too.
I got that cool playmat. I love that playmat a lot. Yeah, overall, it's just a really fun event. Definitely would do it again. I just like the travel aspect of it. I would do better, and because I like to be there, like because apparently Sunday was like the best day to be there because like there was more prizes and stuff, and like I needed to get back home, and 10-hour drive like wasn't conducive with staying till noon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I would love to go one. It's just the only person I've played Magic with in person, out in the public was our buddy Mike, who plays with us in our pod, and he is incredibly personable and charismatic. And he dragged me into going to a shop one night for a commander night, and he's like, "No, it's fine. We'll have fun. All this stuff." And like 5 minutes later, I didn't see him for the rest of the night. He's got like 15 new friends. Like he's just like over there at another table laughing it up with all these people. And I'm like, all right, my buddy made new friends. I'm just gonna sit here.
Lazz, you can make friends too.
I don't know.
I was super nervous going into this because I was like, oh, like I don't want to like piss people off or anything. But like, yeah, like there were people I saw like both days, and like we could just be like, hey, how was your games and stuff, and like. The last table I played at on Saturday, I was like, so like literally I had the CDH tryhard guy table, and then the following table was these 3 people, and like the funnest game I've ever had.
Ouch.
We just bullshitted with each other.
Ouch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
the funnest table in person I've ever had. Does that make you feel better? Like we bullshitted with each other. We literally were like, we should just do another game after this, like just for fun. And then everyone had to leave, unfortunately. But yeah, it was definitely worth it, and like I think it's very scary leading into it, but then like once you just sit in there, you're in there.
Yeah.
If they ever do a Command Fest in New York, I'll fly up and we can go to one together.
Hey, I'll do one in the tri-state. It's just like it seems like it's always like, oh, Philadelphia. It's like I am not going to fucking Philly.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, no, there's no reason for me to do that. So, but hey, I'll go to one. We'll have to set something up. Yeah. Next one, we'll look at the list.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about some like recent games because we've played some Magic lately.
Okay.
So leaving the Command Fest, I picked up the new Knights Precon Cavalry Charge, and I had some upgrades for it.
Stole it.
I threw into it. I did not steal it.
You stole it. Tribals.
You have a 9,000 tribal deck.
So Tribal's my thing, man. Tribal's my thing. All right, fine. Well, I'll let you steal that deck. How's it working out for you? How you doing with that deck?
Not the best. I got one win, but like I don't know. Like
I make it look easy.
Decks.
That's what it is. I make Tribal look easy. You watch me play Tribal, and you're like, oh, okay, anyone could do this. No, it takes a special type of person.
So let's talk about the 2 games we're going to talk about. First game, I won with it. I think just by like war of attrition, because other 2 people were dead, and then I just finally got to swing in and kill Mike, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you were playing Ruxa at the time, and I forget. Like I think Mike just killed you. That was the night. Oh no, that was the night you and Mike were just going back and forth at each other the whole night.
Yeah. The game that he claims that he didn't attack me once, and we're like, you killed me that game. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then I killed Nick because I was like, Nick is a very big threat because he had a Traxa out, and I was like, no, I need to kill Nick, and then I can handle Mike, and that's what happened. But like, I don't know, I feel like that deck is so hit or miss because it's like if you don't get to do the thing the deck wants you to do, which is put knights into the graveyard and then get Sidar Jabari out to bring them back, you're not really doing a lot.
Well, that's the problem too. Is Nick had that one game and he played was it Namada?
Yeah.
Yeah, Namada Primeval Warden. So any creature that dies gets exiled. And that just shuts you down because you can't put anything into your graveyard at that point.
Yeah, that was the night I lost with that deck that night. And yeah, it's just like I feel like I couldn't get anything going because when I did get my commander out, you killed it like a turn later. And then after that, like,
a little spiteful.
I was getting knights on board, but like it's hard to like. I couldn't swing because everyone had big creatures, and like the knights don't really have a lot of evasions. So, like maybe I need to throw evasion into the deck. I don't know. Like
I could see how that deck could be confusing for an uninitiated tribal player. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm watching you play it. I'm like, rookie mistake. You know, I should have probably done this or this.
I will literally ship this to your house tomorrow, my friend.
I have my own. It's right here. I have my own pre-con. Upgraded.
I'll send you the upgrades. I don't know.
I have the
so
upgrades
hit or miss
too.
With it. Yeah, I don't know. And like none of the other precons from this set really excited me too much.
No, I was very upset because they had the they have an Angels one too, but it's like all convoking. I think it's 5 color. Is that the no? It's not 5 color.
It's a
Jeskai.
Jeskai, yeah, Jeskai.
Which there's like a blue angel, so it's like all right, cool. You know, it's just I'm annoyed between.
I saw that deck
Yeah.
in action at Command Fest.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It did its thing.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure how it won.
It's all convoking, right? That's the one that's all.
Yeah, all convoking.
Yeah.
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 And convoking is a strong mechanic. Like I like it.
It's cool.
But I didn't really see how they could have won in the long run. Besides, like maybe making lots of tokens and swinging tokens in. But yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe their Magic's, WotC's anticipating a lot of new blue angels or something because they also had the that team up card that they just came up with and not aftermath, Wrath of the Machines. There, it was Giada and that errant street artist.
Emmett or
something like that. And it was
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Angel, like was it Angel spells have flash or something like that? But it's Azorius.
It's like flying and angels.
Yeah,
have flash.
Flash. Creatures with flying and angels have flash. It's like, all right, well, so now you're giving me this awesome commander, and you're pretty much like play angels and maybe some birds or illusions or something.
I think maybe it's just a way for you to play angels, but also have access to blue for like counter spells and things like that. Because mono white can be strong at times. Yeah, but
I hate
sometimes you want that.
I hate dipping it into a color just for. That's gonna sound stupid, but like I hate the fact of playing a deck and be like, oh, I kind of need more land, so I'm just gonna splash a little bit of green just for rampant growth and for all that. For Kadama's Reach, all that, and not put a single green creature in there or anything. It's like same thing with white. I'm splashing white just so I can put Path, Swords, and Generous Gift in there, and the Chroma's Will. It's like, no, I'd want to, if there's 2 colors, I want to take full advantage of the 2 colors. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, people just splash like 1 level into something for cantrips. It's like, no, that's cheesy, man. Like, you can't take 1 level of cleric. You got like 5 levels at least. Yeah. I don't like the little dip. So.
Yeah. I mean, hey, maybe we'll go somewhere. We got Ixalan and Eldraine later this year. Maybe they'll make some blue angels in there somehow.
I'm all for it. I want to do a 5-color angels deck, but there's not 5 colors worth of angels to really play, so it's not going to happen. Not yet.
Not yet. Let's see what else. We got some other games.
I had that one.
You played Ruxa a lot.
Because I added a bunch of cards to Ruxa, and Ruxa is getting its ass kicked. I don't know what it is. It's not the strongest power deck to begin with, but I think because I have won with it before, and like once it wins in a very annoying way because it kind of does the unblockable damage right to your face. So I think it's gotten to the point where once I get 1 or 2 bears out there and start going, people are like, all right, just remove it. But we have one game. What was it? 3 board wipes. We had 3 board wipes within like 5 turns.
Yeah.
And
like back to back to back.
Yeah, and I think that was what Ruxo was like. All right, well, all my creatures are in my graveyard at this point. I could bring back my Menmite, but
oh, that's right. Oh god,
it's a great card in that deck. But
sure, yeah.
Oh well, Animar went off the other night at the Blight.
You were doing really good with Animar.
Mm-hmm. But I was too big of a threat, and I couldn't kill 3 people, so my choices were either focus and kill 1 person and then immediately die, or try to fend off 3 people while, chipping away damage. So it kind of sucked.
Luckily for you, I was not a threat in that game at all, so you really just had a contest between Alan and Nick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us saw the multi-combat Achroma's Will play from Alan that game coming. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played Night Precon again and just couldn't really get anything going. I was like, I'm pretty sure by War of Attrition I could have beat Alan that game, and then he gave his 1 creature hexproof, and I was like, well, nope, I'm done for.
Yeah, no, I had Vigor out, I had Blightsteel Colossus out, I had Animar was enormous. I think Animar was like a 15/15 or something like that. I played what's the one that has Cascade?
Devastator.
Yeah, Apex Devastate.
Yeah.
So I had tons of stuff, and then it was just kind of, all right, I don't have haste, I don't have vigilance, I don't have trample at the moment, so I can try to kill 1 person and then immediately die, or just try to stay alive till I can draw something to help, and it just never happened. I died first, but that's a game where I think I was the first one to die, and it was kind of, it was well deserved that first death. So I'm okay with that.
I think if Valiant Get Rock Monster was not out there, you'd think you possibly were killing somebody that game, because I mean, Blight still comes in. Yeah. And if you get to untap with it, someone's definitely dying for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. Blightsteel and Vigor came in tapped. It's like, all right, I can't do my thing. But whatever. A couple of good games, though, and I was glad. The one game was annoying to lose just because I had like 5 life and the other person played Mana Barbs. I was like, all right, well, we're at a stalemate here, and I can't do anything.
I had to scoop that game because I got hit for 28, and then I was just getting pinged to death by a Torbrand deck. Yeah. And so when Mana Barbs came down, I said, all right, I'm done. Like I'm not winning this game no matter what I do. I don't have lifelink in my Dragon's deck.
Oh wow. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, look at that.
I have been looking. I know I'm crazy. I look at decks all the time, but there's that is it Jeskai, Ojutai, and Zango or something like that. From the new set, it's a dragon deck. I like the idea of maybe getting away from Gruul or like Teamer and going into just red, white, and blue for dragons, because there's a lot of cool dragons in that. Yeah. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on it. Probably won't build it for a while, but yeah. Right. I got a nice win with SRAM that night.
Your SRAM deck was really good.
I was popping off. I really like the change from Light Paws to that, focusing more on equipment and a couple auras here and there. But really good.
It was kind of I was hesitant I was going to try to build a mono white like enchantment artifact deck, and then after you have SRAM, you had Light Paws before that. Our buddy Nick plays like 3 different Voltron decks, and it's like, all right, well, I guess I can't really do a mono white enchantment deck, because it's just going to be the 3 of us playing all the same cards, just with a different commander. So I think
it'd be fun though, like one night to do like an all Voltron. 'Cause I think you're the only one without a real true Voltron deck. Obviously, not pressuring you to build I guess a Griswold somewhat.
Well, that's the thing. Griswold's supposed to be Voltron, probably, just because he gets so big so quick. I should throw that stuff on him, but I don't know. I'm not one for a go tall. I like to go wide usually, which is probably the tribal aspect of all of this. So
yeah.
But no, it was good.
All right.
Good games.
Yeah, good games. Yeah.
All right, but that's not why the people are here, Cody. We've wasted a half hour of people's time. That's not why the people are here.
Hey,
tell them why we're here.
Just some friendly banter.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, if you didn't know, if this is your first episode, Brew to Screw It is a Commander deck building podcast show where once a month we come together, one of us presents a deck. This month is Lazz. We talk about the deck, why we built it, how does it win, different things about it. We break it down. We talk about a couple of cards the other host suggests to add and cut. And at the end of the show, we ask the question, should we say brew it or screw it? So, Lazz, without further ado, what is the brew of the month?
The brew of the month is Jared Carthalion. Carthalion? True Heir.
Carthalion?
Yeah, Jared Carthalion. True Heir. It is a Naya card. It's cost a red, a green, and a white. It's a 3/3 human warrior. And when Jared enters the battlefield, target opponent becomes the monarch. You cannot become the monarch this turn. If damage would be dealt to Jared Carthalion while you're the monarch, prevent that damage and put that many 1/1 counters on it. So talk about a commander card that wants to be Voltron and I didn't build into it. This is This is definitely one of them. But I think the highlight of the deck is the deck name. This is True Heir, True Heir Don't Care for the deck name, which I cackled at several times just because it's hilarious. That's why I thought when you laugh. So this is True Heir.
You gave me a bunch of shit for a deck I named, and then you come at me with this.
This deck name's fantastic. You don't like True Heir Don't Care?
You stumbled over it. That's why I don't like it.
Well, because it's supposed to be True Hair, but I'm saying True Heir.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
Can we just say Jared Carthalion, like on the card art, looks very much like Henry Cavill from The Witcher.
Oh, okay.
Slightly. You see it? You see what I'm saying?
I see that. I think he looks like Glenn Danzig from Danzig or the Misfits. Yeah. There's this picture I want to see. Maybe I'll do, if I end up building this deck, I'll do a little custom altar and see if I can get that picture of Danzig with his shirt half open, just on stage looking buff AF. Yeah. This is my Danzig deck. So
Danzig deck.
But this is the deck of the month. So why did I build this deck? Besides the guy looking cool, I built this deck mostly because back when I first started playing Magic, I had this card that I wanted to put into as many decks as possible. That card is called Star of Extinction. Just because I thought Star of Extinction was the coolest card. It's 5, a red and a red. Destroy target land. The Star of Extinction deals 20 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So I had built a couple decks using Star of Extinction. These were standard decks back in the day. And shocker, they all sucked. My combo never worked. And that card usually got countered or came out and just ended up killing all my creatures. I'm like, all right, this is garbage. We'll forget about this card. And now that we're doing the show, I'm looking for commanders and stuff like that. I'm like, you know what? Let me see what deck could make this work. And sure enough, Jared Carthalion makes it work, man. If you're the monarch and you play that Star of Extinction, he gets 21 counters and hopefully kills pretty much every other creature. And I was like, all right, I can get into this. And I started looking up other creatures. I'm like, there's other creatures that kind of do the same thing or kind of damage sponges out there. So I started messing around with it, and I've mentioned this deck before in the past to you. This has kind of been on the back burner for, I don't know, 6 months at
2
this.
Months. Yeah. Because I think whenever it was probably like 3 or 4 months ago where like we had the Monarch going on in the game, and I feel like shortly after that you were like, kind of want to build this guy because he's got the Monarch thing, and then yeah,
that's the other thing too. It's we've mentioned, I don't know if it's last month's episode or the one before, but I kind of like the alternate, the mini games of certain, parts of cards or parts of games. And this is definitely one of them where monarch, but it actually matters. You need to, if you're not the monarch, then Jared's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So there's just a lot of cards in here of giving me monarch, helping me maintain monarch, and kind of just, I didn't want to go full Voltron for it because then I felt like it'd be very difficult to prevent like a stupid little, 1/1 flyer to come ping me and take monarch or something. So I didn't want to go true Voltron. I kind of wanted to be able to have lots of creatures on board, lots of blockers, and just let him do his thing. So that is why I built the deck. And what?
I guess some of the goals of the deck, just from what I've been looking at. So the main goal for you is become the monarch, and then deal either some giant damage to Jared, or put up some blockers, some equipment, some artifacts out there that help redirect damage onto Jared, and so that you can keep building him stronger and stronger, so that you can eventually hopefully one-shot somebody, things like that.
Yes, so this is definitely going to play into a play style that I don't usually play into, which is probably why I lose so many games, which is killing one person at a time. I hate doing that because I don't know why. I don't mind if I'm the first person dead in a game and I just have to sit and watch for a bit. I don't mind doing that, but for some reason, for me thinking like, all right, well, I'm going to kill Cody, and then he has to sit here and watch for 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I try to build away from that, and I probably lose a lot because of that. Yeah. This deck does not give me the option to shy away from that, though. I need to become monarch, get my guy as big as possible, and then kill somebody, because then that's one less person that threatens my kingship, and and hopefully Jared stays just as big and can then start moving on and killing the next person. So I'm hoping to play this pretty aggressively, a pretty aggro deck, instead of my traditional sit back and let my tribal support build up, let my anthems build up, my enchantments build up. I don't really have the option for that. I'm going to try get in, get as big as possible, and kill at least one person, and then go from there. So I'm very curious to see how this goes. But my biggest problem with this is it's very hard to deck test this or play test this by myself, because I was trying, and it's very much so a deck that counts on him taking damage, and it's kind of hard to see. Sometimes we'd be like, oh, I think you even said like turn 4 he was an 18/18 or something crazy. Is like, that's possible, but I don't know if maybe he'd be even bigger or what, just because the whole point is that I want him out there and he's going to be chump blocking. I have some cards in here that allow him to block multiple creatures, it's things like that. So it was kind of hard to deck test as much as I would have liked to, but I'm hoping between you and me, we got enough attempts in there to see if it's worth it or not. So that was my biggest complaint.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. I think the package is there to make this work. Obviously, like, you're right, it's really hard to deck test just based on Moxfield playtesting, and like we should mention, like, we have found a way that we're going to be able to start playtesting decks before the podcast now.
Cannot wait.
And so going forward, every deck we'll be able to play with and actually give like a live, like, oh hey, we played it twice or 3 times, and here's how it went.
Because right now the plan is to print out cards and then cut them all individually out and put them into a sleeve with a basic land so that you can shuffle them and Spell Table picks them up. Yeah. But we messed around and found a much, much better, faster way to do it. So I'm hoping that, with these new decks, that we're going to be able to really bang out like a ton of games before we even record, and we'll have a full, we'll be able to go more in depth of, okay, well, this is how it was supposed to work. This is how it worked in my playtest. In an actual game, this guy never saw the battlefield because he would die instantly. So I need to put put more protection in. That's something that you never know how to account for, is how much you're going to be targeted at a table. So, that might be the type of thing where it's like, hey, I don't have enough protection, self-protection, board preservation, or something like that for this deck to work. So we'll be able to kind of go more in depth about that going forward. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, you kind of went over it last, but like, the way this deck wins is just making Jared big, hitting people. I mean, you do have a couple combo pieces in the deck with like, let's see here. You have Kedis, Emberclaw Familiar, where when a commander deals damage, it deals that much damage to each other opponent. So you kind of have a way to, if you get Jared real big, spread the love. You have Marisi, Breaker of the Coil, which would allow you to hit somebody. Even if Jared's small and you hit somebody, you're goading all those creatures on someone's board, and now they're having to swing at other people. So you're kind of just dividing and conquering.
Yeah, and
kingship there,
and that's kind of where the goad really helps with this too, is because then it just leaves opponents open too. Once someone's been goaded and they have to swing with all their crap at somebody, then it's like, all right, that's got a wide open lane to come right through. So I'm trying. I know I've mentioned before there's something else in Magic that I don't really like to do, and I know I have definitely one or two in here which are infinite combos.
I wanted to talk about this because when we were discussing the deck, I was like, well, hey, I see you have, this is a new card from the previous set for actually All Be One. It is All Be One.
Hey, that's the name of the set on the card. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's 3 colorless, 2 red. Whenever you put one or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. And so one of the first questions I asked you was, well, hey, how do you feel about putting the Red Terror? Because you also are putting Shalai Halar, a new card from March of the Machine, which is the same effect as All Will Be One, but on a body. I was like, how do you feel about putting the Red Terror? And Red Terror just says whenever a red source deals damage, put a +1/+1 counter on the Red Terror. And so you pretty much just need to be able to hit with something red, and you will go infinite by pinging someone to death. And you were like, I don't like that. So let's break down like why you are against infinite combos.
I don't know. I just, not so much even infinite combos. A 2-card infinite combo is just, I don't know. It's too easy. Like I feel like it's kind of too easy to, like, all right, I got this piece out there. Let me tutor up the second piece, and we're good. I'm gonna win the game, kill everybody in one turn now. And I don't know. I like to, like I've said, I like to see what the deck can do. And in my opinion, seeing what the deck can do is, seeing how big it can get, how much damage you can dish out, all that stuff. It's not, all right, how fast can I get these 2 cards out so that it does this one thing where it just wins me the game?
See, okay, so I think the issue with your statement there is you're saying tutoring.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always tutor an infinite combo.
No, sometimes you draw into them. I agree.
You draw into them. And so if you're playing a 2-hour game and you have All Will Be One on the board, and then you draw the Red Terror, is there anything wrong with winning the game with that infinite combo then? I say no. Because it's a 2-hour game. The game needs to end at some point.
I agree with that point. I do agree with that. I just, I'm very tempted. Once I know it's in there, you kind of get the blinders. Like my life gain deck, and I have, Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond in there. Yeah. That was, I think, the second deck I ever made. So I was like, whoa, 2-card combo. That's so easy to get. Just you gain life, target opponent loses life. When an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. I was like, this is fantastic. And I did it once. I felt dirty. But, and now whenever I still left it in the deck because those cards are expensive, I'm not taking them out. Whenever I play the deck, as soon as one piece goes down, it's like instant removal because people know the combo, there's a potential for the combo to come. And then 2, like, it's just, I don't know. I don't I don't want to win like that. A life gain deck, I'd like to win by gaining a lot of life and then somehow using that to, I don't know, Aetherflux Reservoir. That's my favorite way to win in the life gain deck is blast people for this huge health. I don't want to be like, okay, I have these 2 enchantments out and I gained 1 life. Everybody's dead. Let's shuffle up and play the next game. So that's kind of my thought process.
I get where you're coming from a little bit. I think as long as you're not tutoring and as long as the goal of the deck is not to hey, the only way this deck wins is if I get this combo, I think that's fine. But if the combo naturally comes into play, I don't really see an issue with it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, for this deck, your main goal is to get Jared as big as possible. So we just agreed, Red Terror does not fit in here. But in a +1/+1 deck, I think it's okay to have it in there as long as you're not worldly tutoring for it.
Yeah, and I agree. And I have I've been accused of being very hypocritical in my in my play style, my complaints about other decks, and then proceeding to do the same thing. So, like I said, I don't like it, but I do happen to have an infinite win con in here. What do I got? Is Pariah with Stuffy Doll. You put Stuffy Doll out there, which is indestructible. When it enters, choose a player. When Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to chosen player. So I have that out there, and then you put Pariah, where enchant creature. All damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to enchanted creature instead. And you kind of just ping those back and forth, and you're able to kind of kill people very quickly, because even Stuffy Doll can tap to deal 1 damage to itself. So it's I think that's the 2-card combo there. I believe so. But and I think I had one other combo in there too. But it's just was it Brash Taunter is the other one that does kind of the same thing. When it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. And you can make it fight people. It's indestructible. So I do have a couple of cards like that, but I don't think I have a single tutor in this deck, and it's kind of very much so. If I come across it, that's great. But we'll see. I think you even took some of that stuff out. So in your cuts. So maybe who knows?
Yeah. All right. Let's get into a little bit of a deck breakdown. Go through the different archetypes of the deck and talk about your kingmakers, as we were calling them this week. All right, so Jared Carthalion, True Heir, don't care, has 33 lands, which is very low, 23 creatures, 13 sorceries, 11 instants, 10 artifacts, 8 enchantments. How you feeling about that, Lazz? Sound pretty good.
It sounds good to me. You gave me so much crap. You're like, all right, I can give you 10 cards. Can I make 5 of them lands? But it's just I don't know what it is. It's not a very expensive deck to play. My commander is a 3-cost commander. I'm hoping that once he's out there and once I'm the monarch, that I can, for the most part, protect him so that I'm not casting him a million times or having to bring him out. So it's a pretty low flying deck, mana wise. The mana curve is fairly low, so I feel like I don't need all that much land. I feel like 33 lands is enough, and then I have some signets. I have all that fun stuff. I got my ramps. The point, like I said, I'm not built for a long time. I'm built for a good time. So it's get them out there as soon as possible, get them big, and try to kill people. It's gonna be a very aggressive deck. So I don't think I need that much land. And in the play tests I had, there was definitely like one or two hands that I could have had a couple more land to play with. But for the most part, I feel like I was able to get him on board, get him out early. Try to shoot for like a turn 2, coming out, turn 3 coming out, and then just start sweeping the board. So that's kind of, I think it's okay.
I just think one or more 1 or 2 more lands would make me happy. But we have 9 pieces of ramp in this deck. We have 12 pieces of card advantage, 7 pieces of removal, a whopping 7 board wipes. Pretty much playing board wipe tribal over here.
Is there really 7 board wipes in here?
Yeah, I mean, counting everything that could technically wipe the board, yes.
Are you counting Star of Extinction as a board wipe?
I am. Also, Eternal Wanderer you have in here. And then we have 10 Kingmakers, or cards that will make you the monarch.
Which very important.
Very important to the deck, so 10 I think is a nice number. Maybe it could be a little bit higher. Do you think they ever print more cards with the monarch?
Absolutely. I think so. It's a fun feature.
Weirdly, the new card type battle. There was a battle, and on the backside was Queen Marchesa.
Okay.
And it did the monarch effect, but it didn't call it the monarch.
What does it call it? Does it even have a name for it?
It just said at the end of at your end step, if you hadn't taken damage this turn, draw a card. It was just weird.
Huh. I don't see why they would get rid of it, you know?
I don't either. But yeah, I was curious what your thoughts on that.
I'd be very surprised if they didn't print more monarch cards. You know, it's just it's a fun mechanic, and it's not game breaking. You know, I'm kind of building into monarch as hard as I can with this deck, and it's not the strongest deck. You know, it's not. You know, I'm not going to be killing people turn 2 at 79 damage. You know, at turn 3 or whatever. So I think it's fine. I think there's definitely going to be even growth for this deck too. I don't think I'm building into a dead keyword where it's kind of like, all right, you know, I have Exalted now. Let's wait for some more of those Exalted cards or whatever the case. I think.
Oh, yeah, fair.
You know, I think there's definitely going to be room to improve a deck too, which I like. I like as well.
Yeah. All right. Lazz, why don't we go over some of your favorite cards that you put into the deck?
I can do that. Well, we mentioned it on the short podcast that we had. We got to come up with a cool name for it. You know, but the one creature, I'm kind of just doing 1 or 2 cards from each different card type here. But Shalai and Halar, the new card from March of the Machine, singular. And let's see, let me read that. Flying, Vigilance, costs colorless, red, green, white. Flying Vigilant. Whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on a creature you control, Shalai and Halar deal that much damage to target opponent. I think this card works perfectly with Jared just because his whole thing is gaining counters and gaining lots of counters all at once. So if you have both these pieces out there and you know you're able to play something that does a huge amount of damage just to him, or even if he blocks, you know, a large creature because he's indestructible and he gets 8 counters, 10 counters, whatever on him, and you have Shalai and Halar out there, you're going to be able to direct that to, you know, straight to someone's face. And I just think that's beautiful. I love
very strong.
I love the synergy between those 2 cards. It's like, you know, they printed that card specifically for this commander. It almost feels like where you could kind of I don't know, if this deck's not working out, I'd take out all the monarch stuff, take Jared out, and make Shalai and Halar the commander, and I think I'd be able to keep most of the same cards in here. So I think if you're able to do that, if you're able to swap out a commander with another creature in the deck, I think it's perfect. I think you're doing the right thing there. So that's my favorite creature, my absolute favorite creature that I put in here. Besides that, there's just a lot of cards that add value. Regal Behemoth, you know, when it enters the battlefield, become the monarch. Whenever you tap a land for mana while you're the monarch, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So pretty much doubling your mana just for being the monarch. on on a 5/5 trample creature, I think that's very helpful. I think you'll be able to get so much value, and maybe you don't need so many lands when you're tapping for double mana. Ever think about that, Cody?
I mean, that's fair. One of my favorite creatures that you have in this deck is Marisi, Breaker of the Coil.
Yeah.
It's the colorless red, green, white. Your opponents can't cast spells during combat. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls. So, like, everyone in our playgroup has a Naya deck except for me, and this is the one I've looked at for a very long time, just because, like, I like goad as a mechanic, because it's like, well, hey, you're not hitting me, so that's good. So, yeah, I like that you put this in here. I think it helps you keep control of the Monarch longer. So that's really good. Yeah,
this was actually Marisi was in the first precon I ever bought. It was in the it was in the Naya precon. You'll see Nick play it sometimes. The Gerard.
Oh, the Gerard. Okay.
Yeah, the one that makes the rhinos and stuff. Yeah, so Marisi was actually the alternate commander for that precon.
Gotcha.
And unfortunately, it's like one of the first cards to tell you to cut, just because it does nothing with tokens. It does nothing with the rest of the effects of that deck. So, it's a card that I had. It's one of the first cards I got, in that precon. And then I was like, oh, this card's cool. Time to cut it because it doesn't fit in there. So I'm glad that I'll be able to find purpose for it elsewhere.
Nice.
Let's see. Let's talk about sorceries. So I've got a couple of sorceries I like, but I'll keep it brief. Star of Extinction, just because I brought that up. I think this works so well for the deck. It's literally the point that the reason I built this deck, where it deals 20 damage to each creature, each planeswalker. So I have Jared out there. I drop Star of Extinction right off the bat. He gets 20 counters on it. He's indestructible because hopefully I'm the Monarch at that point. And then I'm just, I have a one-shot commander at that point that I'm able to swing around. I've just did 20 damage to every other creature on the battlefield, so I'm hoping I have some wide open lanes to kill at least one person that turn. So I think, obviously, this card helps. It's why I built the deck. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. The other card that I really like, which isn't that strong, I didn't even look to see if this is one of the cards you cut or not, but Barroom Brawl. Whether it's good for this...
Why would I cut that? It's such a funny card.
It's such a funny card. Like, I don't know how I missed this card. I feel like I've never really seen it or paid attention to it. And then once I was like reading it, I'm like, I want to put this in every green deck I make just because it's hilarious. It's
fun.
It's a sorcery. It's colorless and a green. Target creature, hopefully Jared, you control fights target creature the opponent to your left controls. Then that player may copy the spell and may choose new targets for the copy. So I just think it's so funny to be like, all right, I'm going to beat the crap out of your creature, and then you have the option of beating the crap out of a creature to the person next to you, and it's kind of... Did you count this as a... You didn't count this as a board wipe, I'm assuming.
No.
But... And if you have a bunch of big creatures, or even if there's a disproportionate, amount of little chump blockers out there, I could see this going around the table more than once. Like if everyone's got a lot of the stuff out there, there's nothing on the card saying you can't go around once and stuff like that. So I feel like it's such a funny card, and it helps in green so much just because you're fighting creatures, so that way you're not even having to swing in. If you don't have your vigilance, you're not having to tap your creature or your blockers down, and you're able to just do what you want Jared to do right off the bat. You want him to take damage while you're the Monarch and get those counters. So the easiest way to do that, make him fight someone. And I have a couple of those cards in here, which I'm sure you saw. And I think that's gonna be a very fun way to I like the cards that kind of get a couple of I don't even know how to word it, get a couple of uses out of playing it the one time. It's the Grismold. I have Massacre Girl. I love that card. It kind of like everything takes 1 damage. If anything dies, then everything takes another damage. If anything dies from that, and it keeps on just going and going and going. And nothing's more fun than like, hey, I played this card, but it went around the board several times and, damn near killed everything except what I wanted it to not kill. And I'm excited to see if it works as well as it works in my head.
Yeah. Let's call it one card I really like. It's just a Pariah Shield. It's artifacts you got. It's 5 colorless. All damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to an equipped creature instead. And it has equipped 3. It's really useful for your commander.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen this card before, so it was really cool to see.
Oh yeah, I'm going to get to that when I get to my artifacts. Is there any sorceries? I know usually I'll give my favorites, and then at the end you'll give your favorites. Maybe if we just go through it.
Yeah. Solar Blaze is my favorite sorcery you have here. It's 2 colors, a red and white. Each creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. We play a very combat-heavy meta, and so being able to just be like, you know what, guys? Y'all got too much big stuff on the board. And you walk away winning is pretty good.
So when I first started playing and I was playing in standard, the combo piece that I was trying to get, I guess it wasn't standard at that point. We were playing modern, because who knows what it was. I remember. So I had Solar Blaze, Star of Extinction, and then there's a Boros. He's just like a knight. And it's whenever he receives damage, prevent that damage and deal that much damage to an opponent's face. I'll get the name, but it was like that 3-card combo to get that in place. And that was the whole thing. The Solar Blaze, Star of Extinction, and that 1 random knight. And I had 4 copies of a random Jaya Planeswalker in there because her +1 ability was add 3 red mana or 4 red mana, only use this to cast instants and sorceries. So I'm like, all right, get this out as soon as possible. Use those red pips to get Star of Extinction and hopefully kill someone with 20 damage. So it never worked. It was a garbage combo, but I'm willing to say that now. But now I have the chance, Cody. I could do right by that card.
You could do it.
As far as instants, believe it or not, very boring list of instants. It's your standard, your Beast Within, a Chroma's Will, Generous Gift, Swords, Unbreakable Formation. It's all that stuff. The one card that I do like, just because someone in our group plays it a lot, and it pisses me off every time because it seems to always be against me, is Deflecting Palm. A red and a white. Instant, the next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, Deflecting Palm deals that much damage to that source's controller. So that is brutal, but it kind of it works out perfectly in this, because if someone swings in big for me, I can just redirect it right back at them. Or if something is, I don't know, there's a couple different instances where this can work in my favor. So besides that, it's all kind of the standard stuff. Give myself protection and get rid of other people's threats. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on instants. But the artifacts, you stole my thing, Pariah Shield. That card is fantastic. It's like Pariah that I mentioned before, the enchantment. So if it's on an artifact, I can put that right onto Jared, and then just, whether I'm doing damage to my own face or I'm just not blocking at that point, just taking back shots, just from all over. And
that was a way to phrase that last.
That's what it's called, right? You're taking back shots from your boys while playing Magic. You're able to kind of just redirect that like commander and just grow them. Get real big. So that's kind of a fun artifact. Besides that, Trailblazers boots, which I need to start putting in more decks.
It's strong, yeah.
2 colorless. Equipped creature has non-basic land walk. It can't be blocked as long as defending player controls a non-basic land.
Which, yeah.
Man, even my mono green deck, I have like a couple of non-basic lands in there. It's impossible, I think, to build. It's not impossible, but why would you ever build a deck with no non-basic lands? So
I've wondered like if there are people out there who are like, oh, I just run all basics.
You know who it is? It's the people who someone in their pod plays Trailblazers Boots and like, this is bullshit. I'm playing.
Yep.
What is it? Our one friend plays Chatterfang all the time. And so I remember I was playing a deck and it had green in it. And I'm like, well, he's playing Chatterfang. And like, I looked at my hand and I had some green creatures, but nothing that was going to like win me the game. I'm like, I don't have a forest out yet. And I'm just not going to play a forest. And for as long as I could. And I got pretty far into the game without playing a single forest. And he was just so pissed off. He's like, you have green in your deck. Let's play a forest. I'm like, absolutely not. So I think the only people who are building decks with no non-basic lands are someone that played Trailblazers Boots once before. And they're like,
their night.
Yeah, they're like, all right, I need to have at least one deck. So got that. Let's see, enchantments. Going to enchantments here. I got All Will Be One in there. It's too strong. I feel bad about playing it just because it's such a strong card. But
it's 5 mana. I mean, hey.
Yeah, that's true. If you're playing 5 mana for a card, it should help you do something impressive. But
yeah, I need to get this card in Minsk and Boo.
Yeah,
I put a lot of 1/1 counters on stuff. So yeah,
it's 3 colorless, a red and a red. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent. Creature and opponent controls, or planeswalker and opponent controls. So just whenever I'm putting these counters on Jared or putting counters on anything else, I'm dishing out that much damage. So this could be one of those ways where I do Star of Extinction and I put 20 counters on Jared so I can kill someone, and then put 20 damage towards someone else's face to help weaken them, or 20 damage towards whatever creature. Hopefully somehow something survived 20 damage. It's enough to finish them off, whatever the case may be. But I thought that was a fantastic ad. But there was a lot of cool enchantments in here that I had never really seen. So I'd say probably my other one is Entangler, which is a card I have never seen before, which is 2 colorless, white and a white. Enchanted. It's a creature enchantment. Enchanted creature may block any number of creatures. This is fantastic. This is a great card. Put this on Jared, and then he can just block everything. And every time he blocks, he gets more counters. He gets bigger. If I have this other crap out here, like All Will Be One or Shalai and Halar, or this other stuff, I'm just throwing that damage out all over the place. I think the only thing that can make that card better is if it made it so I can block flyers. It gives my creature reach or something like that. But I think that is I think that's a great card in this deck. How about you? Any enchantments that you really liked? Or
I like Entangler a lot. I think Guilty Conscience is also good for 1 white. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage, Guilty Conscience deals that much damage to the enchanted creature. Pretty much, Jared's hitting hard. Make them bigger. Yeah, you get double for nothing pretty much. 1 white, 1 white mana, and he gets big, he gets even bigger. So I think that is, I think that's great. And then the little set of court of enchantments you have, Court of Bounty, Court of Grace, Court of Heir, just benefiting from being the monarch sounds really good. Yeah, well, that's trying to do. I feel bad because, we I don't want the episode to be like stupid, crazy long, but break down every single card in the deck. But yeah, I have a lot of the court cards where you become the monarch and then you just get benefits. It's just you get benefits for being the monarch. So at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you're the monarch, instead you may put a creature or land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's ridiculous. You're playing creatures for free. Or you have Court of Grace. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 spirit creature token with flying. If you're the monarch, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying instead.
that's fantastic. Just for being the monarch, I'm making these 4/4 blockers. So yeah, all these different courts. Court of Ire, beginning of your upkeep. Court of Ire deals 2 damage to any target. If you're the monarch, it deals 7 damage to that player or permanent instead. So even that's fantastic, because if there's nothing that I can do the damage to, like players' faces or whatever, I can just keep on doing that to Jared. It doesn't say that it's any target. So I'm just blasting on my own guy there and making them huge, and then swinging them in for stupid damage.
We've got to talk about your sexual innuendos with blasting and back shots.
There's been no sexual innuendos so far. I'm just literally reading the text on the cards pretty much, man. So get your mind out the gutter, Cody. Come on.
Okay, yeah. Sure, Lazz. Sure.
You spent too much time in Florida.
Well, let's get to the ads and the cuts.
Yeah, we're just skipping lands too. There's nothing sexy with the lands. It's
there's not enough. That's why
there's not. That's right. If I would add 3 more lands, that's probably when that's when I really start paying off. I'd say the only card that benefits or that works around the deck is Throne of the High City.
Yes.
Tap for colorless, or you could pay for sack it, become the monarch. That's kind of that can kind of be a last ditch effort of something's about to happen. Even if there's about to be a huge board wipe and you're not the monarch, and so you don't have indestructible, you can kind of just pay for sack this, become the monarch, and now your guy has indestructible. Now Jared has indestructible. Now you have all those other perks. You can do this, before your upkeep if you want to make the 4/4 angel. If someone's running away with flyer, it's a little bit of utility that you're able to get for that. Yeah, it costs 4 and you have to sacrifice it. So it's realistically it's it's pay for and tap sack. So you have to leave up 5 mana. It's not ideal, but you know what? It's in there. Let's see if it works.
Yep.
All right. So now cuts and ads. Let's see.
You want to do the additions first? Or you want to do the cuts first? How you feeling?
Let's do the additions first. All right. Let's make it happy before you destroy all my excitement for this deck.
So let's talk about my thought process behind some of these additions. I play Minsc & Boo, which is a +1/+1 counter deck. Jared kind of cares about +1/+1 counters, so I wanted to add a couple bit of synergy there. I wanted to give you more ways to win the game, pretty much, because as someone who plays pretty much 2 Voltron decks, I understand that sometimes it's hard to go face, and so I gave you a couple of options for alternate win cons, and there's just a couple bits of evasion that I felt like Jared could benefit from. So let's start with the creatures. First up, we have Lae'zel, Vlaakith's Champion. This is 2 colors and a white for a legendary creature, Gith Warrior. She's from the Baldur's Gate set. If you would put 1 or more counters on a creature or planeswalker you control, or on yourself, put that many +1 of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. Hardened Scales on a body. I do think Hardened Scales would benefit you a little bit, but I also was like, how about throwing in a creature? Mm-hmm. So you have a blocker to keep the monarch, things like that. Pretty strong. I like her a lot. I think she's really good. If I had a Naya +1/+1 counter stack, I would definitely throw this in. So yeah.
Yeah, that actually is nice, because I don't have Hardened Scales in here, do I? Do I have?
You do not.
Yeah, and kind of the reason for that is that there's only one creature that gains the benefit of the 1/1 counters. So, it didn't really seem necessary to waste a spot on an enchantment that only helps when my commander is out there. But as far as a creature, I could see the creature kind of helping with that, because then you do have a body. It is easier to kind of recur creatures sometimes from the graveyard in these colors. So if whatever the case, if this dies, I can easily bring it back. So that actually is that's a very good addition. I do like that.
Yeah. Next up, we have Kami of Whispered Hopes. Newer card. 2 colors and a green for a creature spirit. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters we put on a permanent you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put on that creature instead. And then you can tap it to add X mana of any one color where X is Kami of Wizard Host power.
Garbage.
It is a 1/1.
The second ability, yeah.
It's a mana dork, but also getting you more +1/+1 counters. So I figured at worst, instead of putting 20 from your favorite card, it'd do 21. But also you can use it to add some mana, just a little bit.
Well, I do like this too, though, because I can put 1/1 counters on this card. I have a lot of ways to put counters onto Jared, but after a while, if Jared's a 25-25 or if he's a 30-30, the difference between those two isn't really all that much. So if there is a situation where I just have extra counters or something floating around, I can throw it onto this, and then you're able to tap it and add X where X is its power. So no, that is kind of a fun card because it does give me more counters. It is a mana dork, but it kind of also turns into not a mana sink, but you're able to pump this up big if you have extra counters to put around, and you don't need to have 36 lands or something in a deck. You're able to cut it down to a more reasonable 33 or something like that.
Okay, all right. Now we're just talking crazy. I think it's a good card. I just threw this one in Minsk and Boo. I'm excited to try it out. And another card I just threw in Minsk and Boo is Conclave Sledge Captain.
Card art's fantastic. So
love it. It's an elephant soldier. 5 colors and a green. It has backup 1, backup 1, backup 1. Each backup ability triggers separately. And then it has trample. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put them any +1/+1 counters on it. It's a 4/4. So here's my thought process. 1, that's at least 3 free +1/+1 counters put it on Jared.
Real quick, backup is when it enters, it puts a 1/1 counter on the target creature, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So, at best, if you're only targeting Jared, he's getting 3 +1/+1 counters. He's getting trample for the turn. And then if he deals combat damage, he's going to get +1/+1 counters you get to the damage 3 separate times.
Why does it get trample?
So,
it doesn't get...
Because the backup ability gives it every ability that the card has.
Really?
Yes. So it has trample.
Oh, wow.
So let's say Jared's a 7/7 and you hit somebody for 7 and it's got all these backup counters on it. It's going to get 21 +1/+1 counters. That's a 28/28.
I feel like you threw a lot of math out there all at once.
I've been practicing that speech all day when I added it. I think this is a strong card. I think if you have a deck with any +1/+1 counters in it, I think it's in green, so you can ramp up to it pretty quickly, and it's strong.
I didn't realize backup gave the additional... I thought backup was just the 1/1 counter. I didn't realize that it also gives trample. That is...
It gives the entire abilities on the card for that turn. So, yeah.
Put that many 1/1 counters on it. Yeah, so if I do swing in with a big Jared, now that has trample, it's going to get that many 1/1 counters on it and be able to kill someone. Yeah, that's really strong. It's a little expensive, 5 colorless and a green, but that's really strong. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll take out an infinite combo for that.
All right, and I have 2 sorceries to throw at you. This is one that I want to add to a lot of my decks. It's Bushwhack, which is a fucking great name for a card, first of all. It's just one
those
green.
Wrestlers from when I was a kid.
The Bushwhackers?
The Bushwhackers coming out.
Just 1 green for a sorcery that says choose 1. Sort your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Or target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. So twofold here. Either this is in your hand turn 1 and you're ramping, or it comes in later and it's 1 mana to have Jared fight somebody while you're the monarch and get a +1 counters on it, and then you go to combat with a bigger Jared. His card is such good benefit.
Yeah, there's a lot of versatility in it. I feel like I haven't seen this one, but no, I like that it's only 1 mana. I like that's just 1 green, because I feel like usually it's an uncommon. So I feel like usually an uncommon that has a choose one where you can either search for a land or make it do something else. This would be something stupid like 2 colorless and a green, or it'd make it so it would be pointless to play early game. You're unable to be played early game and then kind of just pointless later on. But the fact that this is just 1 green mana, the only thing that could make this better is if it was an instant. But even that sorcery speed, that is kind of nice. Like you said, turn 1 use this as a piece of ramp. And if you draw it, late game, then it still has utility. It's not like drawing a Kadama's Reach when there's only 1 opponent left and you both have 10 health, and it's like, all right, I guess I'm getting a forest. So that's neat. I feel like I hadn't seen that before, so I could definitely see myself adding that in there, and maybe even into Ruxa or something. Also have big creatures.
Yeah, it's a good card. Definitely think people should run it more when playing green. Next up, I got a card that I think is just going to be an alternate win con. It's in my Minsc and Boo deck as an alternate win con. This is Chandra's Ignition. It's 3 colorless, 2 red. For a sorcery that says target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent. So, I mean, if you get Jared up there pretty big and you draw this, you could win the game potentially.
Once he's a 40-40 and just kill everybody on 1 card. See, I'm okay with that. That's not like an infinite combo. Sure, it's 1 card that kills everybody at the same time. I am all for that because it only works if you get your guy big enough to do it.
Yeah.
That's
I think I've done this one time in Minsc and Boo where I had Boo was like a 36 and I got to play and win the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah. Good,
I'll add that. That's that I like more than maybe I'll take Stuffy Doll and Pariah out, or I'll leave Pariah in, but take Stuffy Doll or Brash Taunter or something like that out to make room for this, because that's really cool. I do like that.
Yeah. Next up for instance, I got just a way for you to help get Jared through. We have Master Warcraft. This is 2 colorless, and you can either pay 2 red, 2 white, mix and match it. It's got that what they call it, hybrid mana. It's the hybrid mana of red white. It's an instant that says cast a spell only before attackers are declared. You choose which creatures attack this turn, and you choose which creatures block this turn and how those creatures block. It's kind of twofold. Either you're choosing Jared to go through and hit someone for lethal, or if someone's about to start hitting you for lethal, you can choose how they attack and how they block.
Or just make it so no creatures attack this turn.
Or that.
Like, hey, you're about to swing in and kill me. How about you only swing all your little 1/1 chump blockers at me, and I'll block all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool addition. I like that just for the fact that if someone does have a lot of chump blockers and say I don't have a trample or something like that, I could just swing in Jared and be like, all right, no, you're not going to block with your Blightsteel Colossus. You're actually going to block with your 15 1/1 Saprolings.
Yeah.
So, I like that. I wish it was a little cheaper. That's the only thing. 4 mana.
That's the only thing. 4 mana, but I think it's a nice little card to get you through. So, yeah.
Okay.
And then next up, we got Soul's Fire. 2 colorless and a red for an instant that says target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. Another twofold thing. Either Jared's big and this is how you finish off one person, so then you can go face at the other. You could also have this target Jared with his own power and double its power effectively.
Yeah.
So that's just a lot of easy ways to utilize this. 3 mana, once again, a little expensive.
Yeah, but if you're able to it's pretty much like fling, It's pretty much
without having to sacrifice the creature.
Without
that was
having
my
to
thing.
sack it.
Like, my deck is very fling focused, where I'm okay with sacking the creature because I get Boo back all the time. Yours, you want Jared to stay around.
How much does fling cost? Is fling 1 mana?
It's either 1 mana. It's the different type of flings, but I think fling straight up is 1 colorless and a red. So 1 mana cheaper.
So I would rather just pay the 1 extra mana and not have to sacrifice my creature. That's a better fling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Which I also don't have fling in here, but why would I want fling in here? I don't want to be sacrificing.
Yeah, you don't want to be
Jared. So that's why, like, I know we have one friend that always complains they wants to see more fling, because it's just a funny way to kill someone. This is a better fling, I think. I have to look it up. Yeah. There's no way fling costs 2 mana. Just spend one more mana. Sure.
There's Thud, and Thud costs 1 mana. Because there's like 9 different fling cards out there. All right. I got one artifact for you, because I know you were like, hey, I don't want to make this Voltron. So it's
fling is 2 mana. Real quick,
Flail.
Sorry.
I knew it. I played that card. Inquisitor Flail, 2 mana for an artifact equipment. If equipped creature would deal combat damage, it deals double that damage instead. So a little bit of double striking. If another creature would deal combat damage to the equipped creature, it deals double that damage to it instead. And has equipped 2.
So it's kind of like an equipment that gives you, was it Aurelia the War Leader? Is it that Aurelia? The all sources of damage you deal double that damage, and any damage you receive is half damage.
Is it Gisela the Golden Blade or something like that? I don't know. I know which one you're talking about. It's a Boros Angel.
It is. Yeah, it is Gisela, yeah, because I have that creepy cherub art.
Yes, that's right, yeah. So yeah, either causing Jared to do more damage to people, or when you block with Jared, more +1/+1 counters from blocking, because everybody's doing double damage to him. Thought it was just it's also really cheap, 2 mana. It's 4 mana total to do, so just a nice effective way to get that done. I do
like it. I'm not gonna lie, I might not add this one to it just because I didn't want to go too equipment heavy. And granted, there's not that much equipment in the deck already, but I much prefer, the Chandra's Ignition, the deal damage to everybody, or the Soul's Fire, deal damage to people instead of a piece of equipment that will allow me to deal double damage. That part is nice, but I feel like for 4 mana, there's other cards you suggested that are better for 4 mana or cheaper. So, what do you suggest? A 3 cost, 3 cost, 1 cost? It's a 5 cost Chandra's Ignition. But it is a very cool effect. I could see this definitely going into a pure Voltron deck that you're building around for that. I don't know if that's this deck, but that is a cool card.
I gotcha, yeah. I think this next card, which I have one enchantment for you, is possibly my favorite card I found.
Okay.
This is Mael's Area. Araya? I don't know.
Araya,
it is a red, a green, and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control if you control a creature with power 5 or greater. Then, Then you gain 10 life if you control a creature with power 10 or greater. Then you win the game if you control a creature with power 20 or greater. We're making a giant Jared.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting a +1/+1 counter on him. We're gaining life. And if we can get him above 20, we're winning the game.
Yeah.
Alternate win con, baby.
That's nice. That is nice. I like that. That's a nice alternate win con. It's a little bit of life gain, which I'm a sucker for. Mm-hmm. But 1/1 on each creature you control. If you control a creature power 5 or greater, there's a couple of different creatures in the deck already that
are 5 or greater.
5/5 and 8/8. Just going through real quick. Maricia 5/4. So I do. What is this? Phyrexian Vindicator 5/5. So there are creatures out there that just right off the bat it get the +1/+1 counters. But I do like that alternate win con. The get rid of this card because Jared's got 20 or greater health or power, and my upkeep's coming. I like that. It reminds me of in my life gain deck, I have Feladar's Sovereign. Yes. If you have 40 or more, was it 40 or more life or 50 or more life at the beginning of your upkeep, you win the game.
Yeah.
And it kind of starts the clock. So this is one of those cards of, hey, he's got that enchantment out there, and Jared's a 21/21. Someone either needs to kill Jared or kill this enchantment. It kind of puts a big target on your back, but chances are if I have a creature that's power 20 or greater, I'm already the target. So I do really like that as an alternate win con. And man, even if it's not winning you the game yet, it's still adding benefit with those 1/1 counters on each creature you control. That goes onto that card that I could tap for mana with how big it is. There's a Cameo of the Whispered Hopes that kind of helps with that. I like that. I like that card a lot. I definitely see myself adding that.
Also think this is kind of sneaky because the way it's worded, so you get the +1/+1 counter, and then it says, then if you have this, then if you have this. So if Jared's a 19/19 and you go to your upkeep, you get the +1/+1 counter, pushing him into 20, and then that final effect will take place. So if someone's not paying attention, you get to win the game pretty sneaky. Also, if you have Lazelle or Cammy Whispered Hopes out, you're getting technically 2 +1/+1 counters. Then Jared just seems to be an 18/18. So,
yeah, because the Felidar Sovereign card says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 50 or more or 40 or more health, whatever it is. So the fact that this is at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to do this stuff. Then that is very nice. That is a good way, like you said, like a sneaky win of someone like, all right, we got another turn. Jared's only at an 18/18. They're like, nope. I get that counter. I get the extra counter from something else, and now that's it. Get ready to die.
Yeah.
I like that card.
And last but not least, I had one land I thought you should add.
Should I cut a land for this?
No, you should not fucking cut a land for this. You should just add the fucking card. It is close to my Gruul heart. It is Skarg the Rage Pits. It's tap to add a colorless, or you can pay a red and a green and tap it. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Just more evasion. I think Jared probably needs a little bit of help here and there to get past some big creatures, or just get past the 9 million blockers. So I think this can help you out a little bit. I know you already got
Rogue's Passage,
Keswick Wolf Run,
Rogue's
Passage, things like that. I think this just helps out a little bit more.
Yeah, hey, I love lands that add something, which that's why people don't have just all basic lands in their deck. It's a card that it just adds utility. It's something for nothing. It's a card that gives you mana, and then later on in the game, it's like crap. I need something. Nothing's better than thinking you're screwed or lost in a situation or completely out of it, and then you start reading your cards. Like reading your cards, but noticing that your land has some type of sync effect. I think it was Keswick Wolf Run one time where I was able to just pump my creature huge because I had tons of mana, but I had nothing in hand that was going to win me the game. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh crap, I can just give something +X +0 and trample till end of turn. Like, all right, he gets +10 +0 and has trample. And it's great to be able to do that from a land card because lands are so hard to get rid of, and I feel like a lot of people don't utilize some of those bottom effects on some of these cards all that much. So you're right. I'll cut a forest. I'll put that in there. That way I can maintain that
so much.
That nice 33.
Oh my god!
But I like it. Why
don't we get to the cards you should actually cut? Because they're hot card. I'm just kidding. So I gave you 10 additions. Here are going to be 10 cards. I don't think really. I think they don't add a lot to the deck, in my opinion. You're probably going to hate me for a few of them. First up, you had one Planeswalker in the deck. It was the Eternal Wanderer. This is 4 colorless, 2 white for a legendary Planeswalker. No more than one creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each turn. For its +1, you can exile a target artifact or creature. You return it at the beginning of the next player's end step. You can do its 0 ability to create a 2/2 white samurai creature with double strike, or you can -4. You choose one creature on everyone's board, and they sacrifice all the other creatures. You already kind of had. You had 7 board wipes. I included her as a board wipe because of her ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just didn't really see why this card fit the deck. Other than maybe making you blockers and just helping with getting people out of your way. I mean, it's a good card. It's a good card. I just didn't think it fit. I think you could add something in its place.
I like to add at least one planeswalker to every deck, just because I feel
That's
like
fair.
it's weird to have a card type that is not utilized. It'd be like building a deck with no enchantments or no artifacts. I know that's a gross, exaggeration of it, but I feel like I always have to add a planeswalker, and I then, while playing the game, feel like I always have a spare planeswalker in my hand that is either stupid expensive, or I know I'm just going to play it and then it's not going to gain me a benefit for a couple of turns, and it just ends up sitting there. So yeah, cut it. It doesn't need to be in there.
This is a very good planeswalker. It does come in and immediately do like some really good things. I will say I had this in hand the other night, and our friend was playing their Sigarda Voltron deck, and I couldn't make anyone sack anything, and I couldn't target it because everything had hexproof, and I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah. But yeah, well, you run into situations like that too. So yeah, get rid. You know what? You gave me 9 better cards than this. So. So yeah, I agree.
Let's do artifacts. So I think we should cut Gruul's Signet and Selesny's Signet.
What? You complain I don't have enough land, and then you have me cutting my precious signets that I hate?
I think add the more lands, and also we have a lot of ramp because we're in green. So I don't think we need the signets. I think that 2 mana can go elsewhere.
Okay.
It's also just weird that you only have these and you don't have what am I thinking of?
What, Boros Signet?
You don't have the Boros Signet.
I didn't have Boros Signet?
And I missed it? You did not have a Boros Signet. So I was like, why do I have these 2? I didn't understand.
I'm not gonna lie. I was metagaming a little bit. I only threw those signets in there because I'm like, I don't want Cody to just look at this and immediately be like, all right, 2 additions. No. This signet, this signet, this signet. I was like, I'm just gonna throw the signets in there.
You weren't expecting me to say cut them, were you?
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's why I'm so surprised, because I literally only put those in there for you, and you cut them. I'm like, maybe he won't bring up the lack of lands if I put signets in there.
Add two lands, and then we're in green. We're ramping all the time. I gave you Bushwhack,
Okay. Hey.
So yeah.
You don't have to convince me. Get rid of signets. Got it. Cut them from every deck.
This one is a weird one for me because I love this card, but I don't think Black Blade Reforged makes sense to have in this deck.
Okay.
Because you are trying to get away from Voltron, and as you've already said, you have a lower amount of land count, so you might not get as much benefit from the +1/+1 for each land. Okay. I love this card.
Yeah,
it's just I don't think it fits with what you're going for. You're more going for a +1/+1 kind of theme.
Well, and that's the thing. I feel like equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. You said there's not a lot of lands in the deck. I think the difference between 33 lands and 36 lands isn't what makes or breaks Black Blade Reforged.
Or does
or does it? Oh, if only your creature was a 36, then you would have won the game.
If someone's got 36 health and you Chandra's Ignition.
But no, that's why I was in here. It's 2 colorless. So here, let's compare it to your Inquisitor's Flail. 2 colorless and 2 to equip, as opposed to 2 colorless and 3 to equip. What do you think's better? Creature deal double damage, or Black Blade Reforged, which it gets a decent amount of counters off, right off the start there, and then only gets bigger as long as it stays around, because realistically you're playing a land every turn.
I think that's the hope. I don't think it happens every time. You're always going to be having stuff deal damage to your commander, though. And so I think Inquisitor's Flail would benefit from that.
So you think that's the better artifact to have in here? Better equipment piece.
That's a tough call. That's a real tough call. Because like I said, I do like Black Blade Reforged, and if you have a lot of lands out, here's my thing. I had that one play test where I had 2 lands from turn 2 to turn 10.
Bad luck.
And I was like, damn, this sucks. So I mean, hey, those games happen where you just get screwed and you can't recover. But in that case, Black Blade Reforged is just a dead card in my hand. So
I agree. I agree, but we'll see. We'll look at the other cuts and we'll make a choice from there. But Black Blade Reforged is, I really like that card just because every deck at least has 30 mana in it, you know. So realistically, I don't know, say it costs 5 to play and equip. So let's even just say it's a +5/+5. You know, it's a static effect. You know, unless someone's running mass land destruction, you're not really losing those counters. So I feel like it's only getting bigger each turn. So might be hard to convince me on that one. I do absolutely see where you're coming from, though. But let's see some of these. Let's see some of the other cuts here and make a decision from there.
Yeah. Let's do. I got one enchantment, and then we got a couple creatures to talk about.
Okay.
One enchantment is going to be Hydra's Growth, 2 colors and a green. Enchant Aura. Enchant creature. When Hydra's Growth enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of +1/+1 counters on an enchanted creature.
Why would you get rid of this card? It's so good.
I know.
It's so good in this deck.
Good. I would say this is an enchantment that gets targeted very quickly because if Jared is already big, no one's going to let you double it. There are cards out there that just straight up double. I think it's like Visions of Dominance that just straight up double the number of +1/+1 counters on a creature. So if your goal is to double what you got, I think there are sorceries that do that better than an enchantment where you have to wait a whole turn cycle. Also, think about the fact that you put this on Jared and someone removes Jared, this goes to the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. I think if it did it immediately, I'm on board with you. The fact that you have to wait a whole turn cycle kind of sucks.
Yeah, but that one turn cycle can be the difference between, you know, Jared being a +10/+10 or a +20/+20. Like, I feel like that, and then say for whatever reason, we had a game the other night where for whatever reason no one was drawing removal. Like, there was plenty of stuff that needed to be removed, and sometimes you have those games where it just doesn't happen. It doesn't come up, you know. And so if say it makes it 2 times around the table, it goes from a 10-10 to a 20-20, then it goes around once more. Now it's a 40-40. Like, I feel like it helps the idea that I was saying of get Jared out, make him as big as possible, as quick as possible, and kill people. And I think if either getting lucky that no one has removal and he just blows up to an insane power toughness out of nowhere, I think that's great. Or if it forces someone to use a removal to get rid of that one enchantment, that's kind of fine too, because I have other enchantments out there that also kind of help. You know, Guilty Conscience and Tangler, all those courts, all will be one. You know, that's kind of someone has to now get rid of Hydra's Growth because they don't want you to have a 40-40 commander. Say no one gets rid of him when he's a 40-40. Next turn he's an 80-80. Like, it's just stupid how much benefit you get off that. And yeah, it might take 1 or 2 turns around the table, but it's kind of good because it makes people use the removal that they are supposed to have. You know, it's like our friend Creeps. You know, whenever I play Life Gain, he's like, my goal whenever you pull out that Life Gain deck, he's like, it's to get a Crossan's Grip and leave it in my hand as long as possible until you play Aether Flux Reservoir and start trying to, you know, pull people down. But I absolutely love the fact that he told me that, because now I know. I'm like, you know, he's got a Crossan's Grip in pretty much every deck he plays. Like, if I'm playing that Life Gain deck, I don't have to be worried about that, you know. And I think there was even one game that I did play against him where I had a stupid enchantment that I played. He Crossan Grip, destroyed it, and then like 2 turns later, I top decked Aether Flux Reservoir, and he was just pissed because I think I probably ended up winning that game, or at least killing him, because, you know, I know that his active game plan. So I really, really like this card, Cody. I really like this card.
I like.
I'll cut a forest and put it in.
I swear to God. All right. I think you sold me. It is. I think, you know, it does constantly keep benefiting you. So, also, you know, in combination with Mael's area, you know, That's another sneaky little win right
Yeah.
there. You get him to a 10-10, he doubles into a 20-20 because you can order that. So, all right, you won me over.
All right, good. Because I love that card. I put that in Animar. That's great in there because he just doubles power toughness. I can play stuff for even cheaper next turn, and that's when the Eldrazi and the Blightsteel Colossus starts coming out once he starts doubling the counters on him real quick.
Fair, yeah. All right. Got 5 creatures that I don't think really fit the deck or don't do what you want for the deck.
Okay.
First up is Eternal Witness. Just because I didn't really understand what we were trying to bring back from the graveyard. Is it maybe just if if an enchantment gets removed, you want to try to bring it back? Okay. That's kind of fair. Okay.
Any of my good pieces, if they get removed. Say someone gets rid of the Mael's area because I'm about to win. Play that E-Witness and pull it right back out.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think Eternal Witness, I think every single deck that has green in it should be running. Just
instead of running Eternal Witness, Ballagad Recovery. It's also a land.
I don't know that card. Do you have to tap and sack it?
No, it's a MDFC. It's a land on one side and a recovery spell on the other side.
Yeah.
So instead of a creature, it's just but also if you need a land, there you go.
I don't need any lands. I'm good.
Okay, good God. All right.
Okay.
Next up, Palace Jailer. This is 2 colorless, 2 white, human soldier. When Palace Jailer enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. So it is a kingmaker, as we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
When Palace Jailer enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until an opponent becomes the monarch. It's that second effect that I'm kind of like, man, that whole when someone else becomes a monarch. Because I know the idea is that we're going to hold it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone can just sneakily get in there with a 1/1 flyer and we lose the monarch, then whatever we had exiled is just back. And it's kind of like...
Now you're stuck with a 4-cost creature that's a 2/2.
Exactly. That's my gripe with this character. That's a card right
And now that I'm looking at your list here of what you removed, I see that there's another similar type card, and that was the problem I was running into, is that I was trying to lean into Monarch as hard as possible, just because that's the point of the deck. And there are cards that give you the Monarch that then are absolutely useless. And it's I'm playing a Monarch deck. I should be playing these cards that make me the Monarch. But, I completely understand this cut. Like you said, one sneaky flyer comes in and I lose the Monarch. They get their creature back, and now I'm just stuck with a crappy 2/2 body. I'd much prefer getting Monarch the old-fashioned way, turning sideways and going at someone. So, yeah, absolutely. This card goes in the garbage can. I'm going to buy it, rip it up, and throw it in the garbage.
Next up is Protector of the Crown. This is 5 colors and a white for a giant soldier. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. All damage that be dealt to you is dealt to Protector of the Crown instead.
It's another one of those cards that
so here's the thing.
Put in there just because I had to do monarch stuff.
If it was not 6 mana, if it was 3 or 4, include this, because this gets you the monarch early, gets you the card draw you need, keeps you safe for a while. The other issue is that it contradicts with Jared really bad. Because when Jared enters, it makes someone else the monarch, so you have to seal it back. But you have to do that the next turn. Also, you don't want damage dealt to Protector, you want damage dealt to Jared.
Right.
So I guess kind of contradicts what Jared's trying to do, but also what Jared is doing by making someone else the monarch. So it's just a card that I get where you're coming from. It makes you the monarch, but too expensive.
And we ran into this problem with your deck last month with the dungeon delving and stuff, where it's all right, this card gives you the initiative, but besides that, it's just hot garbage.
It's not very good.
And that's definitely it. 1, why does this cost 6 mana? 2, why is it a 2/5? It should have indestructible, or it should have a much higher toughness. prevent all damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to this card instead. It makes it sound like it's some badass card. The card art's this big knight standing protecting other people. It's 5 health, man. Like it's it's a lightning bolt while someone's got a Torby on the field. Is all it's able to prevent. It's get rid of this card. It's garbage. I agree.
All right. And then I do think we should cut Stuffy Doll, mainly because I think Brash Taunter is a better version.
Okay.
I get your infinite combo. I think Brash Taunter being able to fight something makes it just a better version versus dealing 1 damage to itself. But also 5 mana is kind of expensive. But if it is a combo piece, then I think it's fine.
I'm fine getting rid of Stuffy Doll. Yeah, and like you said, it's 5 mana. It's in there only for the Pariah combo. And you know what? It gives me an excuse not to play a 2-card combo. So I am on board with cutting it.
Last one I got is I could not figure out why you put this in the deck.
Really? I can't figure out why you got rid of it.
Torolf, God of Fury, 2 colors, 2 red for a legendary creature god. Trample whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage. I didn't get... Okay. All right, I see what we're doing here with Star of Extinction. Okay. Torolf deals damage equal to the excess to any other target permanent. Okay. And it flips into a
I wouldn't flip it.
So. We don't care about the hammer in this case. Okay. I wasn't thinking about the board wipe shenanigans you're trying to do, and
like Blasphemous Act, or Star of Extinction, or
and just so you're just going to target Jared with the excess damage and make Jared really big.
Yeah, well, either that or if like Star of Extinction deals 20 damage to each creature on the battlefield. That's non-combat damage. So if someone has a whole bunch of 1/1 chump blockers out there, and it's +19/+19, it deals that damage equal to the excess to any target other than the permanent. I could go towards people's faces. I could go towards.
Oh my god! Okay, yeah, all right, yep, you got me. You solved it. Never mind. Not okay. I was like, I don't get why you're putting this card in. It kind of sucks. Okay.
I was surprised. This and Eternal Witness were the 2 that were like why cut those? Like, I know Hydra's growth. I might have swayed you on that, but I understand your point. But yeah, Eternal Witness and Torolf, I feel like this is a really, really cool with it. This is a very fun way to hopefully get stupid damage to come out of nowhere. So I like it.
That's fair. So Les, what do you think? How are we feeling about these cuts and additions? I know we kind of went back and forth a little bit, but what are your thoughts?
I really like the cuts and additions. I think I'm very, very impressed that you were able to make this deck, which I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the deck was pretty good, and the fact that you quickly made these additions, and I'm not gonna lie, these are a lot of cards I didn't even see on like EDH Rec or in other people's decks that I feel like really, really help. So I'd say I have like the 10 cuts and adds. I'm probably going to do, I'd say probably like 8 of them. I like the Inquisitor's Flail. I don't think I'm going to do. That land's probably not, because I don't want to get flooded, No, I'll do the land. But, I don't even know. Am I going to do all of them? I'm trying to think, because, all the cards you added, so at least I'd say 8 or 9 cards I think I'm going to be swapping in, and
I count that as a win.
Absolutely count that as a win. That is, you made the deck do what it wants to do much better, and you cut out some of this crap that, like I said, Protector of the Crown, Palace Jailer, those, it's kind of the tribal problem. Like, once you start playing Elf Tribal, then you have to throw in all these crappy elves sometimes to, for flavor. As kind of, these were flavor additions that I am glad that someone else told me to cut, because I didn't have the heart to do it. So, no, I think you definitely thinned out the deck and took out some stuff that didn't really need to be in there. And, I think I'm probably going to make like 8 of these swaps straight across. Because, you took out some of these creatures. Cody, fantastic job. I can't wait to make these changes and play this.
I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see you play this deck. I think it's going to be really fun.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I am bad at my job, and we are not doing the how do we stack up to the average deck on EDH Rec because I forgot to do it. So we're going to skip right ahead to the Golden Screw, which is the best card in the deck that we're both going to pick here. I think
best card or favorite card?
This is the best card. This is the card you think wins you the game.
I was going to say Star of Extinction. Is that too on the nose? Just because I literally I built the deck around Star of Extinction. I think that's the card that I am going to try to make the golden screw here because that's the deck that I want to be the best card. I want this deck to see Star of Extinction come out and everyone be like, all right, we playing another one. So whether or not it's actually the best card in the deck, probably not, but it's definitely the most pushed card in the deck. It's the card I'm going to be trying to force into a win con as much as possible. So I think that's my suggestion. How
After
about you?
Told me that real dirty combo with Torolf, I gotta say, I will also be giving it to Star of Extinction.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you can't have a card on your cut list become the golden screw.
It's our podcast. We make the rules.
We do whatever we want. E-Witness. Yeah. Eternal Witness is the best card in the deck.
No, I think definitely, I think it's fun when you find a card and you just build a deck around that card. So I definitely think Star of Extinction is the golden screw this week. So,
all right. Yeah. I'd say a close runner-up. Definitely a close runners-up is Pariah Shield. I like that. The 5-cost artifact, all damage to be dealt to you is dealt to equipped creature instead. I like that to kind of put that onto Jared, because even if Jared's tapped and attacking someone else and someone's like, all right, good, you're wide open. It's like, nope, you attack me all you want. It's just all going to Jared. He's got indestructible. He's getting bigger. And now all this other garbage happens because I have these other creatures and enchantments out here. So I'd say that's probably a very close second, but it's Star of Extinction. That should be the golden screw just because that's literally why this deck exists. I'm not afraid to say it.
All right. Well, folks, for those listening at home, you can find this deck in the description of this podcast or on our Twitter at @BrewerToScrewIt, or we'll have a link to the Moxfield page. Take a look at it. Tell us what you think. Do you think the additions I've made were garbage, or do you think they're pretty good? If you have a similar deck, let us know how you like playing it. Do you think the Monarch's going to come around again? We sure hope so, because this deck could use some upgrades in the future someday.
What? Not for a while. It's good for a while.
Not for a while. It's good now. It's good. We made it great.
And everyone, feel free to contact us. Suggestions of decks that you want to see us build, brew, discuss, mechanics you want to hear us discuss.
Whoa.
What?
We got to ask the question.
Oh, we got to ask the question. I think the question is self-explanatory at the moment.
Okay, well, should we say brew it or screw it?
This is a brew. I cannot wait.
100%.
I cannot wait to try this deck. I am so excited to try this deck. I think it is going to be so much fun. I'm not gonna lie, while building it, I was kind of like on the fence, and even as recent as like last night when I was going through and looking at this still and play testing it, I was like I don't know. Like I was really excited for this deck, and then I'm just not sure if it's going to stack up really. And now after talking about it for 90 minutes or whatever, and kind of going through the different ways that it can do stuff and discussing and bouncing off you, it's like no, what was I thinking? This deck's going to be a lot of fun. Let's build this. So that's kind of the whole point of the podcast, is to sell you or not sell you on the deck idea. So this has sold me. I really want to try this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see if I can become Monarch and maintain it as long as possible. So this is a brew.
Hell yeah. Glad to hear, man. All right. Now we can do the outro.
Yeah, you do the housekeeping here. You're better at it.
All right, everyone. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at BrewToScrewIt on Twitter. Be sure to follow and like the podcast, whatever platform you use. We want to shout out. We got a 5-star review in between the recording of the last monthly episode. So thank you so much to that person for that. Keep those coming. Helps out people find the show.
Makes us feel good about ourselves.
Makes us feel really good because we were both like, is this your friend? No, it's not. Okay, cool.
Don't be afraid to steal your friend's phone, open up their Apple Podcast app, and just start leaving 5-star reviews. Yeah. We accept those as well. So please do. It's a lot of motivation for us to keep all this going too, because I think it's crazy that people want to listen to us just bullshit about cards for an hour. But man, if people keep listening, I'll keep on recording. So by all means, please, even if you think we suck and we don't know what we're talking about, let us know. Leave a 5-star review and tell us you hate us. I'll accept that too.
Yeah. Just, tell a friend. Let them know that, hey, I found this really cool podcast where they talk about deck building. You like building decks. You're also insane and build 20 in your head every day while you're at work listening to another podcast,
Let these guys do the heavy lifting of the play testing, discussing, bouncing back and forth, and then listen to it. So
yeah.
By all means.
You can also reach out to us through email. We are brewitorScrewit@gmail.com. And yeah, I think that'll cover all of the socials and everything like that. I think, in between, so our next podcast will be releasing on June 5th. It'll be my turn to brew a deck. But I do think in between then, we might do another mini episode. We'll have to find out a name for that on the March of the Machine Aftermath launches in May, I believe. And then in June, we will have the Lord of the Rings set launching. And dear God, are we going to record some content about that, because I'm so excited.
Can't wait for that.
Look forward to that, everyone. So yeah, I guess that's it for the episode.
All right. Look at that.
Look at that. All right. Until next time, should we say brew it?
Or screw it. It's a brew. See you guys next time.